I was like, come on.
Cheeky.
And I did not win, Yasser.
How frustrating. That's the worst.
And handshake there from Garry to Gukesh. Maybe
I'm
we're
just
going to see
curious.
A3. Maybe we'll see something strange like A3, C3.
By Magnus, really.
Magnus really likes to experiment. Maybe we even see F4.
Now remember in their rapid game, Magnus was white and, wait a minute, it was Magnus was black and had made that wonderful sacrifice of the exchange. I think the clocks have been started yet.
Yep. The bell has sounded.
And he keeps the knight on F3.
It does.
Knight F3.
D5 played, G3. Now this one is a
C6.
Knight C6, D4.
According to Nimzovich, Knight C6, question mark, D4 black is worse.
Are you quoting Nimzovich?
Yeah. And I just thought it's so hilarious because black has actually made, you know, two incredibly reasonable moves. And then he's just like worse.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And,
Knight H4. Now that's inspired.
Bishop comes out to G4.
Bishop to G4.
And
I assume you want to play H3.
Will you start questioning that bishop? No.
No.
E6. Okay, but it has to be.
Why did we put our knight on H4? That was a question that Gukesh also asks. Don't you just lose the tempo?
Right. This is my understanding. If you let the light square bishop out,
yes,
you've got to harass it. So H3.
He's done it. He's done it.
And now
H3.
the knight comes back.
But that's, I don't know who got the best of that, but it does seem like a waste of time. What has happened, knight H4 back to F3. C4. Okay, it looks like a Catalan. Except it's not, because this bishop is not on C8. It's actually on H5, very, very useful. And I would say black is actually just fine. Takes.
C3.
It's almost, no, not really Queen's Gambit, decline-ish. Knight E4 strikes me as a move that you'd like to play, not necessarily because you want to play F7, F5, but because you might want to play bishop E3 and rook E8.
Well, also,
knight E4.
If you don't go knight E4, I was looking at possibilities of going knight E5 with the white pieces as well. And one of the things with having this bishop on H5 with this particular pawn structure is if you visualize like a knight coming to E5, there are ideas of going F4 followed by G4 and trapping this bishop.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Knight E4 on the board, and from black's point of view, again, not necessarily playing for F7, F5, but definitely playing for bishop F6, rook E8, and keeping your pieces in the center of the board. Very, very good idea. And the move you mentioned, knight E5.
And now this is the question, do you take on C3 or do you reinforce that knight with F5?
Right. Personally, I take on C3 and I take on E5, and then I play, like, I would play knight takes C3, B takes C3, take on E5, take on E5, and then follow it up with C6, so that
well, we're going to see this on the board. It's been played.
Just as that was the prescription. And then I would quickly play F6 to avoid what you were saying.
Right.
You want to play F4 and G4 and F5 and get me. I know you.
Yes. But can I be sneaky about it?
No.
Can I go Yeah, because I wanted to go G4 first. But okay, F4, F6.
You could definitely, yes, as expected. F6, very, very important move. You don't want to see your bishop getting hemmed in by G4 and F5.
Yeah.
So we have F6, and Magnus is being asked a very salient question. What are you going to do? If you allow black to capture on E5, you're not going to like the resulting pawn structure. And he's done his G4.
And now bishop to F7. I love bishop F7 controlling the E6 square, so there's no chance of white ever setting up a pawn chain on the light squares.
Exactly. Bishop G6 would have only invited F5 followed by E6. And so Magnus, very reluctantly, I want to say, it's not the type of move you really want to play as white. E5 takes F6. Bishop takes F6 for me is an automatic, but Gukesh is just thinking about a check, an in-between chain. You liked it.
I love this position for black. I feel like white is pushed way too hard and left behind some weak squares. The pawn, sorry, there's no pawn. The square on e4 is weak. The e line in general is just very weak.
The c3 pawn is...
Yeah.
This is a nasty move because you're essentially provoking f5 and the dark squares. You drop back with the bishop and then quickly play rook to e8. Although, by the way, was that well timed? I might have just brought my rook to e8. Maybe bishop g6 was asking a bit too much out of the position.
Okay, but I think you just have to accept that you've done what you've done.
Well,
bishop
indeed.
goes back to f7.
And then I'll go g5.
And g5, and then...
And I start to ask some probing questions.
Right. The bishop can come back to d6.
King will probably drop back in that case. We're looking at a position where the bishop moves to f7, the pawn goes to g5, and maybe on a good day I get to play g5 and g6. And who knows, the black king could suddenly be vulnerable.
Do you think that Gukesh, he's a very aggressive player, and I suddenly saw another possibility, like the rook can slide over to e8.
You think he will sacrifice his queen?
No, the whole point is to go bishop d6.
Okay, so
you want to go rook a e8. This is an unbelievable resource. Like rook a e8.
I'll take a bishop.
And then you go bishop d6, check.
I'll move my king.
Maybe we should put this up while the players are thinking.
Sure.
Okay, bishop f7. That was way more natural.
Okay, just show us the analysis, what you had
in
mind.
Bishop
king
d6, and now wherever you go, queen e5.
Ooh, but I do have. They're playing quickly.
Yeah, look, let's.
Unfortunately, that sacrifice would not, I don't think, pan out. By the way, bishop went back to f7, bishop f4. We got a trade, and I think Magnus is going to be a little bit relieved. This is not a great ending for Magnus, but it's not a worse ending either. Before the move bishop g6, I think that Gukesh had to pull rook to d8, and on a good day, now you can kind of bring your king. You can go bishop to f3.
C4
maybe
is
go
coming.
for c4. Maybe you could actually get rid of your backward e pawn. Wouldn't that be something?
That would be great news for Magnus. So white is simply doubles. Sorry,
King.
rook f4.
Keeping an eye over the d4 square, so d5, d4. And again, if I can get my king, well, to f4, my bishop to f3, I might have a little pull here for white. Are the clocks a factor?
They're nothing troubling for the time being. Gukesh has 1 minute and 45 seconds, whereas Magnus, he has a 45-second lead. He's on 2.5 minutes. And c5 is a nice move, getting ready to slide the rook over to the A line. But the rook comes up to a5 and starts eyeballing the pawn on the c5. Magnus is relentless.
I wanted to ask, was the move c7, c6 mistimed? Because the structure, black's queenside structure was really, really solid. Suddenly it feels a little porous. I'm ready to play rook takes c5. Maybe on a good day, c4. You go rook c8. I'll go c4, and I'll be asking some very unpleasant questions. That bishop is eyeballing the pawn, and b5. But let's pause our analysis and throw it to Poland.
Look, it's great news that we have Magnus as the oldest player. So I think that tells you everything. And also, Ramcha's story is the best illustration that the game of chess is not dead. So all these doomsayers who predicted the end of the game, machines will kill it. No, there's more interest now. More people can watch it. You know, you can just follow the game. You don't even have to wait for us to make a commentary, so you can look at the screen. And again, numbers do not lie. So they see more and more people joining. And it's a great fighting tournament. So there's so many great games. And I think it's even before I look at the chessboard, I could look at the players. I could see a little fighting spirit. That's good. That's phenomenal. And young players, they hear, and in every game you can expect something. Even blunders.
Absolutely.
We saw Magnus blundered, but again, it's part of the show. Yes. It's a spectacle, and while there's a lot of disappointments. You made a bad move, but no matter who wins at the chessboard, chess wins. And the public wins, and we are chess fans. We also win.
You picked up quite a good game to make the first move for a former.
I didn't pick. I was asked.
Somebody picked it for you. Yes. How special is Gukesh?
Look, I mean, if you are making so much progress at such early age, and also I think his big advantage is that he can manage to play without diminished strengths under pressure. Because what we saw in the candidates, a lot of pressure, and we know Fabi
collapsed. Pressure, unfortunately.
Not first time. But I think I remember a game with I think was Swidler. This is what he just did in Moscow. When he just, did Karyakin eventually. Yes. Well, so there's the penultimate round. So when he was winning, just as Rook and Bishop.
Was in contention.
Yes. Absolutely. So I think it's something is just and. Even though they missed it, I remember this. I watched this is the last game, and I think you can feel that he's probably relaxed. He was absolutely winning, and then Nepo kept kicking, and somehow he still found many good moves, but just didn't see the simple win, which is, by the way, interesting. I could see him, just trembling, everybody, you have thousands people on the internet shouting, "Oh, we need to check." just play, and he missed it. So and Gukesh survived. So just he was a bit lucky, but it's in some games. But he also missed probably he lost the winning game against Alireza. So that's why. It happens.
It balances out.
Exactly. He's very, very balanced. He's very, very balanced. And just by the way, look at this game.
Let's look at this game, What's happening in this one? Both players under 1 minute, 37 seconds for Magnus, 14 for Gukesh. It's usually a Magnus type of advantage, right?
Advantage? You say it's advantage?
I thought so.
Two pass pawns, I can see. I see pass pawns.
Those are
I see pass pawns. It's interesting. So that's what happens. Magnus attacks. So this is
Rook c1, bishop to e4.
Rook c4.
Rook to c4 could be an idea. Which he played it from your mouth to his hands.
King e3. C2 check bishop d3. Yes, he wants to play. Still. Rook c5. Now the pawn is
trying
hanging.
to take on f5. King d2 maybe.
King d4. No, that doesn't sound good to me. Just something.
For white or for
black?
For
yes,
black.
No, pawns are advancing. Too dangerous.
6 seconds for Gukesh.
No, that's the.
Seems like Magnus is taking over.
King e5. c2. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Magnus did say something at the beginning of this show. He says, I need to beat them while I can still do it,
Yep.
Congratulations, Magnus. Just an incredible game.
No, when Magnus plays, with his hand, he's unbeatable. So he always finds the right square for the right piece. So that's no doubts about it. I think he plays very quickly, and this is all great moves. This is king.